All right, guys, so I'm headed to Scroggins Machine to pick up the 6-liter for Raggedy Red. So had a little bit of machine work done to it, and as it turns out, it was probably smarter to go ahead and bore it out and put new pistons in, so I did. So should have a fresh 6-liter short block, and now I just got to figure out how to put the thing back together and get it back in Raggedy Red. So stick around and we'll get this show on the road. Hopefully it doesn't hurt too bad in the pocketbook. We'll see.
You gotta get me on video.
Huh?
You can get the block on video.
All right.
I'm not much of a movie star.
Well, I don't have much of a YouTube channel, so.
I've seen a couple of them.
Have you?
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, I like this.
All right, you come to Scroggins Machine Shop, and you're probably going to run into Joe and Butch. These are the two gentlemen that were helping me load the motor in my wife's Benz. And as you'll see here in just a second, they refused to let me help them load this motor. So here you go. They were afraid I would get hurt, and to tell you the truth, yeah, I probably would. I'm glad they loaded it for me.
Yeah, I won't get hurt.
I don't know how you're gonna get it out of here.
I got a
Wants to put it on this side, I think.
crane. If it'll ride like that, that's fine. All right, there you have it. We got her done, loaded. Hopefully we make it home without it in the front seat. All right, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
I'll be here also.
Yeah. All right, here we go. We loaded. Thanks, Tom. All right, we got it home. Now we got to figure out how to get it out of the Mercedes. So, I don't know. It's upside down. I guess I got to roll it over. All right, guys, we got the motor out of the Mercedes before my wife got home too, so that's never a bad thing. So now we're gonna get it on the engine stand and get it over there where I could start building on it. I gotta figure out how to put this thing back together. I hope I don't have any extra parts, but you usually have extra parts. We'll see. So the build begins with the 6-liter going into Raggedy Red. Got it home. I just got to get it up on the motor stand. Once I get it on the stand, it's game on. So, oh man, this is a heck of a project I didn't know I was going to have. All right, guys, so we got the motor. I got it off out of the Mercedes, put it on the engine stand. Look, it's right there. We got the motor all set up. Now I got to figure out how to put this joker together. I don't know. But what I wanted to show you was the bearings. So I considered seriously running this thing because it seemed like a really good rotating assembly, and I know that people have run these things right out of the junkyard, put them in whatever you're going to put them in, and they run really well. As an example, Raggedy Red ran on my junkyard 5.3 for what, 9 years, and that motor is really strong. I pulled it right out of the junkyard, or I bought it from a junkyard, cleaned it up a little bit, and when I say cleaned up, I painted it and threw it in raggedy red, and I just ran it, and it ran great. But let me show you. I'm really glad I decided to go to the machine shop and get some of this, get this 6 liter cleaned up. Let me see if I can get a good one, and I'll see if we can get the light on there. I don't know, hopefully you can see that, but you see those grooves in there? These are the bearings. Look at that thing. Man, when you scratch it, it's nothing but grooves. It's pretty rough. Oh, this is a really bad one. Can you see that right there? All those grooves. I don't know. To me, that looks kind of bad. Maybe not. I don't know. But it does give me a little peace of mind that we got the machine shop to replace all the bearings, do some machine work, and I've got a fresh rotating assembly. So now I got to figure out how to put this thing together. So here we go. I'm gonna try and get started, get some stuff cleaned up. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back. And today we're back in the shop. We're trying to put together the 6 liter. Last night I didn't get it on film, but I did put the bottom end on. I got the windage tray in, put the oil pickup on, and tightened everything down, got the oil pan on. So the bottom of the engine is good. Started to put the heads on last night, and I started looking, and this is something that you don't find on the internet. So I figured I'd make a video out of it. The bolts, the head bolts, they are torqued to yield, so you can only use them one time. And what confused me is this block is a 2005 casting. In 2004, it's a Gen 3 block, Gen 3 LS engine. But in 2004, they changed from the head bolts, if you're familiar with it, are these longer. You have 8 of these longer head bolts, and then you have 2 of the shorter ones that go on the ends inside the valve covers. So that's up until 2004. In 2000, so that would be a long bolt motor is what I've heard it referred to as. On a 04 and newer, they are all the same length. So you get, if you order the head bolts, you get 10 that are the shorter size. So this is the shorter one that was in, so they're the same size. It's 100 millimeters long. So the torque sequence is slightly different. So with the standard prior to 04, the torque sequence is torque these down to 22 foot-pounds, and then get an angle gauge or a digital torque wrench, and torque these an additional 90 degrees. So you turn it 90 degrees. You go through your torque sequence in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you do a third pass. With prior to 04, that third pass is another 90 degree turn. 04 and newer, it's a 70 degree turn. I've never done this before, but I've been told, don't guess, get a gauge. So I went and bought a cheap gauge, and we'll see how it goes. Then you have 5 of these little dudes, and I believe they're 22 foot-pounds. Just there's a sequence that you can find on the internet, but 22 pounds in that sequence, and you should be good to go. So I don't know. Again, 04 and newer, short head bolts, they're all the same size except for those little dudes. Prior to 04, you have 8 of the longer bolts, and 2 per side of the shorter bolts that go in the ends inside the valve covers. So there you have it. Now there's a video on the internet that explains it explicitly, because I couldn't figure it out, and I was up tossing and turning. I got up early and got on the interwebs trying to figure this out, and I think I stumbled across something that seemed accurate. We're going to use this angle gauge instead of a typical torque wrench with a measure of foot-pounds. We're going on the first pass, we're going to turn the bolts in torque sequence to 90 degrees. So how does this little doodad work? I got this off of Amazon. It's got this little stop. So what you do is you put it on the first bolt, adjust your stop, and then spin this around until the marker is back on 0. You don't need a torque wrench. I'm going to use a breaker bar. And hopefully you can see this. Let me move you around. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to turn this, that's number 1, until we go to 90 degrees. All right, there's 90. That's the first one. Now we got to do the other 9. Okay, for my last trick on this head, 22 foot-pounds. Got a torque wrench set to 22. These are 10 millimeter, and we are going to go 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So here we go. I've got them run almost all the way down. Okay, not quite. So this is number 11. $11, $12, That didn't sound good.
Yep, you heard it. I broke a torque to yield bolt. I guess you get what you pay for. I've got a cheap torque wrench here from Harbor Freight. I think I paid like $20 for it. But dang, I didn't realize it was going to be that cheap. I figured it would at least work a little bit. But nope. Second small bolt snapped right in half. And man, this project just took a different direction. So now I got to figure out, what in the world am I going to do? So all these bolts have to be pulled back out. They're torqued to yield, meaning you torque them one time. Once they're torqued, you can't do it anymore. So back to the drawing board, back to the parts store.
Oh, in the hell? That sucks. Well, I guess I just ruined that set of head bolts. Fiddlesticks. All right, guys, we got a package in. So I know you heard the snap, crackle, and pop when I torqued down my first head. And I have a cheap torque wrench. I've since replaced it with a less cheap torque wrench, but still cheap. And so I busted one of those smaller bolts off. And as you know, we explained that they're torque to yield bolts. So once you tighten them down, that's it. You pull them out, you got to start over and get new ones. So the rest of the story is I found some bolts at O'Reilly, and I thought it was the right part number. It said it was for this particular model engine. Got them home, opened it up, big thing that said, if opened, unable to return, and guess what? They were the wrong stinking size. But it's the part number that I asked for. The kid behind the counter gave me exactly what I asked for, so I really don't feel like I should go and try and return them. I just feel like that wouldn't be really honest. So I bit the bullet. I got on Summit and I got some ARP head bolts. So those are supposed to be the cream de la creme. So let's check it out.
Man, I love getting stuff in the mail. Even if it is just a bunch of nuts and bolts, this was a special treat. ARP delivered. And hey, I even got a sticker.
So far, so good. Oh, look at that. I think there's a sticker in there. Check this out. Where will we put the, oh yeah, ARP sticker. That's cool. All right, washers, more washers. Oh, okay, little washers, big washers. Oh yeah, that's them. That's them. Cool, awesome. Now, I gotta figure out how to torque these heads down, because if you recall, with the torque to yield bolts, it was 22 pounds, then 90 degrees, then 70 degrees, right? You don't do that with these. These have 3 cycles of torquing, but I think it's like 25, 50, and 75 foot-pounds, something like that. But anyway, hopefully we're not gonna break these. This is the size that I broke. That one doesn't look like it's gonna break at 20 some odd pounds, so awesome. Stick around, see you on the trail.
Stick around, guys, stay tuned, and see what happens with Raggedy Red next. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.